It was a quiet Sunday afternoon at Trafalgar Square in London. The air felt fresh, and tourists took photos under the bright sun. Old couples held hands, children ran around feeding the pigeons, and everyone felt at peace. But in one corner of the square, something dark was unfolding. A young boy, no more than 14, stood by the fountain. He was holding a worn-out backpack, looking around nervously. His name was Tommy, a boy with dreams of becoming a footballer, but life had not been kind. He had lost his father last year, and now his mother was sick in the hospital. He was alone, trying to sell some handmade keychains to help pay for his mother's medicine. That's when trouble came. A tall, strong man dressed in a black karate uniform walked straight toward Tommy. His black belt caught the sunlight. His name was Victor Chan, a martial arts champion, known for his short temper. Some said he had once been a respected teacher, but fame had made him proud and cruel. Victor looked at Tommy's tiny display and, for no clear reason, shouted, "You think you can cheat people with this garbage?" The square grew quiet. Tommy's small hands trembled. He didn't understand what he had done wrong. He looked up at Victor, eyes wide with fear. I'm just trying to help my mum," he whispered, voice breaking. But Victor's face stayed hard as stone. He stepped closer, casting a large shadow over the boy. His voice rose, loud enough for everyone in the square to hear. "People like you are nothing but beggars. You shame the city." Gasps filled the air. Some tourists began recording with their phones, while others stood frozen, unsure what to do. An old woman near the fountain clutched her chest, tears welling in her eyes at the sight of the helpless boy. Tommy's lower lip quivered. His father had always told him to stand tall, but right now he felt smaller than ever. He wanted to run, but his legs felt like stone. Victor raised his hand, not just to scare, but to strike. It was in that terrible moment, when all hope seemed to vanish, that a calm yet powerful voice cut through the tension like a sharp blade. "Enough," the voice said. Every head turned, hearts pounding. There stood Jason Statham. Jason Statham, the legendary action hero, was known for his tough roles in movies like The Transporter and Fast Furious. But this was no film set. This was real life. Jason had been quietly walking through Trafalgar Square, enjoying a rare, peaceful day. But the moment he saw Victor threaten the boy, something deep inside him burned like fire. He could not stand by. His face was calm, but his eyes were sharp and full of quiet fury. His steps were slow but strong, like a lion approaching danger. People around held their breath. Cameras now turned to Jason, hoping, praying, that he would stop what was about to happen. "Leave the boy alone," Jason said firmly. His voice wasn't loud, but it carried weight, like thunder waiting to roar. Victor smirked. "Who do you think you are? Some hero?" Jason didn't blink. He had seen pain. He had fought for justice on screen. But now it was time to fight for real. "He's just a child," Jason continued, his gaze never leaving Victor's eyes. "Pick on someone your own size." A silence fell over the crowd. Hope sparked in Tommy's heart, and the showdown began. Victor narrowed his eyes at Jason Statham. He was not used to people standing in his way, especially not celebrities. But Jason was not just a movie star. He had trained for years in real martial arts and lived a disciplined life, even off camera. "You think your fame scares me?" Victor sneered, stepping closer. Jason did not flinch. His face stayed calm, but his eyes were like burning coals. "This isn't about fame," he replied quietly. "It's about right and wrong." Tommy watched with teary eyes, his small chest rising and falling with fear. He had never felt so small, until now. Jason standing there gave him a flicker of hope, like the sun peeking through storm clouds. The crowd grew larger, An old man near the fountain wiped his eyes. "That poor boy," he whispered to his wife, who nodded silently, tears welling. Victor scoffed and raised his fists. "Step aside, or I'll make you regret it." Jason gently shook his head. "No, I'll never step aside when a child is in danger." A hush fell again over the crowd. Every heart in Trafalgar Square beat faster, not knowing what would happen next. As Jason stood firm, memories flashed in his mind. He remembered his own tough childhood in London. His father, Barry Statham, had been a street seller. Jason had helped him sell perfumes and watches to make ends meet. Life was never easy, but they were honest people. Jason saw his younger self in Tommy. The fear, the helplessness, he had felt it too. "Stay behind me, lad," Jason gently said to Tommy, not taking his eyes off Victor. Tommy, with tears falling down his cheeks, nodded. He clung to Jason's coat, feeling a strange warmth of safety. Victor's lips curled into a cruel smile. "Acting like a hero won't save you." Jason's voice grew stronger, but still calm. "Being a hero isn't acting. It's standing up when it matters." The crowd felt Jason's words deep in their hearts. Some older people in the crowd remembered their own hard days. Widows thought of their late husbands. Grandfathers thought of their young grandsons. A few began quietly praying for the boy and for Jason. Jason's fists slowly tightened, ready for whatever Victor would do next. But deep inside, he hoped it wouldn't have to come to a fight. Victor made the first move. With a loud shout, he rushed toward Jason, throwing a fast punch aimed straight at his chest. The crowd gasped loudly, many covering their mouths in fear. But Jason, quick and sharp as ever, sidestepped smoothly. His training, both in movies and in real life, had prepared him for this moment. He caught Victor's arm mid-air, twisting it just enough to stop the punch, but not to break it. "I don't want to hurt you," Jason said firmly, his grip like iron. Victor growled and pulled back, launching a high kick. Jason blocked it with ease, but the force pushed him back a step. Tommy cried out, "Be careful, sir." Jason gave a quick glance at Tommy and managed a small, reassuring smile. "I'm all right, lad." The old woman from earlier wiped her eyes with her scarf. "He's protecting that boy like he's his own son," she whispered, her voice cracking. The energy in the square grew heavy with emotion. Strangers held hands. Tears filled many eyes. Victor, breathing harder now, snarled, "You'll regret this." Jason's voice, steady and brave, answered, "Not today." The battle had only just begun. The sound of the fight made the whole square grow tense. Pigeons flew up in fear. Mothers pulled their children closer, but no one left. Everyone's eyes were locked on Jason and Victor. An old man at the back, Mr. Harris, a retired school teacher, felt his heart racing. He wiped a tear from his cheek. "That young lad," he whispered to his wife. "He reminds me of our grandson, Harry." His wife squeezed his hand tightly, tears filling her eyes. Jason stood strong, but he knew this was not just about a fight. It was about something deeper. He saw the fear in Tommy's eyes, and it broke his heart. Victor attacked again, fast and sharp. Jason dodged, but this time Victor's punch brushed Jason's shoulder. Pain flashed across Jason's face, but he did not fall. "Why are you doing this?" Jason asked Victor, his voice heavy with sadness. Victor's eyes flickered just for a second. Behind the anger, there was something else. Pain. Regret. But Victor only growled, "The world forgot about me. I will make them remember." Jason understood. He saw a broken man, not just an enemy. And Jason knew this battle was more than fists. It was about saving a soul. As Victor prepared for another strike, Jason did something unexpected. He lowered his fists slightly, keeping his eyes locked on Victor's. "Victor Chan," Jason said calmly. "I know you were once a teacher, a good one." Victor's fist froze mid-air. The crowd watched in silence. Jason's words were not shouted, but they carried weight, like truth from the heart. "You taught young people to be strong," Jason continued, his voice gentle, "to respect others, to protect the weak." Victor's eyes flickered again. He hesitated, his breathing sharp and heavy. Memories rushed through Victor's mind. He remembered the faces of young students, their smiles when they learned a new move. He remembered one boy, Liam, who once said, "Master Victor, I want to be like you when I grow up." Tears welled up in Victor's eyes, but he quickly blinked them away. "No," Victor shouted, as if fighting himself more than Jason. "That man is gone." Jason stepped closer, lowering his hands fully now. "He's not gone," Jason replied softly. "He's still inside you." The crowd could barely breathe. Tommy's small voice broke the silence. "Please, sir, come back." Victor's hands began to shake. Victor's breathing grew uneven. His fists, once hard as steel, now trembled like leaves in the wind. The crowd watched, their eyes glistening with tears. Some even whispered prayers under their breath. Jason saw the wall around Victor's heart starting to crack. He took another careful step forward, keeping his tone calm and warm, like a brother speaking to family. "You were never meant to be feared, Victor," Jason said gently. "You were meant to be loved, respected. Look around." Victor's eyes darted across the faces in the square. He saw not hatred, but pity. He saw the fear in Tommy's eyes, and something inside him twisted painfully. Jason continued, "This boy, he is not your enemy. He is your chance to be the man you once were." A tear escaped Victor's eye, running down his cheek. Tommy, brave beyond his years, stepped slightly from behind Jason. His voice, small but strong, said, "It's not too late, sir." Victor's arms slowly fell to his sides. His lips trembled. He looked like a man standing at the edge of a cliff, unsure if he should fall or fight to climb back. The square fell silent, waiting for his choice. The square was so quiet, you could almost hear the wind brushing against the stone lions of Trafalgar Square. Victor stood frozen, his chest rising and falling fast. His fists were lowered now, but his eyes still held a storm. Tears clung to his lashes, refusing to fall. Jason took another slow, careful step closer, never breaking eye contact. His voice, low and calm, carried across the crowd like a father speaking to a son. "Victor, you once protected people like Tommy. You used to lift up the weak, not crush them." Victor swallowed hard. His throat felt tight, as if the weight of his past was choking him. From the back of the crowd, an old man suddenly called out, "We remember you, Victor. You taught my granddaughter self-defense." Victor's eyes widened, caught off guard by the voice of someone he once helped. Slowly, more voices joined in. "You saved my sister from bullies. You were a hero to our children." Tears finally broke free from Victor's eyes, falling like rain. Jason saw the opening in his heart. "You are still that man," Jason said softly. The crowd waited, breathless, as Victor's heart battled between darkness and light. Victor fell to his knees. It was as if the weight of his choices had become too heavy to carry. His hands, once so full of anger, now pressed to the ground as tears soaked his cheeks. The square filled with a deep, painful silence. Many in the crowd began to cry openly. Elderly couples hugged tightly, remembering their own regrets, their lost chances to make things right. Tommy, the brave young boy, slowly stepped toward Victor. His small voice shook but was clear. "I forgive you, sir." Victor's eyes, red and full of sorrow, lifted to meet Tommy's. Those simple words, so pure and kind, broke what remained of the anger in Victor's heart. He covered his face with his hands and wept like a child who had lost his way. Jason knelt beside Victor, placing a firm hand on his shoulder. "It's not too late," Jason whispered. "It's never too late to come back." The crowd watched, tears streaming down their faces, as Victor's hard shell finally crumbled. Hope filled the square like sunlight after a long storm. And in that moment, Jason Statham was not just a hero of movies. He was a hero of life. Jason slowly helped Victor to his feet. The strong, feared fighter now looked like a broken man, but also like someone who had found a new beginning. Tommy stood bravely beside them, his young face filled with forgiveness beyond his years. Jason raised Victor's hand gently and looked toward the crowd. "We are all human," he spoke, his voice carrying deep wisdom. "We all fall, but what matters is that we rise again." The crowd erupted in soft applause, not loud, but full of feeling. Tears continued to flow down many faces. Some older men took off their hats in respect. Victor, voice trembling, finally spoke. "I lost my way. I forgot who I was." He turned to Tommy. I'm sorry, son." Tommy, with eyes shining with tears, gave a brave nod. "I know, sir, and I believe you." Jason gave a small smile, proud of the boy's courage. The scene, once full of fear, had turned into something deeply beautiful. Strangers in the crowd began holding hands, united by the power of forgiveness and redemption. But as peace seemed to settle, a shadow moved in the crowd. Something was not over yet. Suspense hung heavy in the air. Just as the crowd started to breathe easier, a shadow moved between the people. Slow, steady steps echoed against the stone square. Out from the crowd came a second man. He was taller than Victor, wearing a dark jacket, his eyes sharp like knives. His name was Marcus Lang, once Victor's friend, and now a man filled with bitterness. He had watched the whole scene unfold, anger growing in his heart. "You're weak, Victor," Marcus sneered, his voice cold, crying like a child in front of strangers. The crowd froze again, hearts gripped by fear. Jason's eyes, still calm but watchful, shifted to Marcus. He could feel the tension rise once more. Marcus stepped closer, looking at Jason. "Step aside, Statham. This is no place for movie heroes." Jason stood firm. "This isn't about movies," he replied, his voice steady as stone. "This is about saving lives." Victor's face twisted with shame and pain. "Marcus, don't do this." But Marcus only laughed darkly. "You forgot who we are." Jason narrowed his eyes. He knew Marcus was dangerous, more dangerous than Victor had been. The crowd held their breath once more. The storm was not over. It was just beginning. Jason's heart pounded, not from fear, but from knowing he had to act wisely. Marcus was not like Victor. He was colder, more dangerous, and full of dark pride. "I won't let you hurt anyone," Jason said firmly, stepping between Marcus and the crowd. The older people in the crowd felt their hearts race. Mr. Harris, the retired teacher, whispered, "Oh Lord, give Jason strength." Marcus grinned cruelly. "You think you're a hero, Jason? Heroes don't exist in the real world." Jason's eyes did not move away from Marcus. "Heroes are real," he answered softly, "when people choose to protect, not destroy." Tommy, though scared, bravely stood behind Jason, holding tightly to his worn-out backpack. Victor, still wiping tears from his face, stepped forward beside Jason. "Marcus, please. It's not too late for you either." But Marcus snarled, "Too late? It's never too late to take what we deserve." Without warning, Marcus charged, his fists ready for violence. Jason's muscles tensed, his mind sharp. He had been in many fights on film, but this was real. Lives were at stake. The square watched, unable to turn away. The final battle had begun. Marcus lunged at Jason with furious strength. His fists cut through the air like blades. Jason moved fast, blocking the attack with both arms. He could feel the force of Marcus's rage in every strike. But Jason was not fighting just with strength. He fought with heart. "You don't have to do this, Marcus," Jason shouted, even as he defended himself. "You can stop now." But Marcus kept swinging, wild and angry. The crowd cried out. Some could not bear to watch, turning away with tears in their eyes. Old men gripped their walking sticks tightly, as if wishing they could help. Jason dodged another blow, and then, in a brave move, caught Marcus's fist mid-air. Their eyes met. Jason saw not just anger, but deep pain buried inside Marcus, pain that had twisted him for years. "You've carried this pain for too long," Jason said, breathing hard. "Let it go." For a brief moment, Marcus's hand shook inside Jason's grip. His eyes blinked fast like he was fighting his own tears. But rage pushed him to break free and attack again. Jason knew this fight was not only for the crowd, it was for Marcus's soul. Jason's grip on Marcus's wrist tightened, not to harm, but to hold him steady. His voice, though breathless, remained gentle. "Marcus, listen to me," Jason urged. "This anger will destroy you." Marcus's chest heaved. His eyes, once sharp with fury, now showed cracks of sorrow. His arm trembled in Jason's hand. Around them, the crowd wept openly. Old men removed their hats. Women wiped their eyes with tissues. Tommy, the brave boy, watched with tear-streaked cheeks. Jason continued, speaking from his heart. "You think no one cares, but we do. Look around." Marcus, breathing hard, slowly turned his head. He saw faces filled with hope, not hate. People prayed for him. People he had never met. Victor, standing beside them, his own tears flowing freely, spoke softly. "Marcus, we were lost, but this man gave us a chance." Marcus's lips quivered. His free hand lowered to his side. Jason gently let go of Marcus's wrist, trusting him. For a moment, the whole world seemed to pause. Would Marcus choose peace? The answer came slowly, as Marcus fell to his knees, covering his face with his hands. Tears spilled from him like a broken dam. The crowd gasped, then clapped softly. Jason knelt beside Marcus, resting a comforting hand on his shaking shoulder. "It's all right, Marcus," Jason said quietly, his voice like a warm blanket. "Let it out." The older crowd, full of people who had lived through their own storms, wiped their eyes. Some even cried openly, remembering times they had needed a hand to lift them up. Victor stepped closer, placing his hand gently on Marcus's back. "We were strong, Marcus, but we forgot our hearts." Tommy, with innocence only a child could have, bravely approached and offered Marcus his small hand. Marcus looked at the boy, tears clouding his eyes. Slowly, with shaking fingers, he took Tommy's hand in his own. It was rough and scarred, but it felt human again. "I'm sorry," Marcus whispered, his voice cracking like old wood. Tommy nodded, squeezing his hand. "It's okay, sir." Jason smiled softly. His job here was done, but his heart felt heavy with emotion. The crowd, moved beyond words, began to applaud, not loud, but full of warmth. For a moment, Trafalgar Square felt like a holy place, where broken hearts were healed. Peace had returned, but something even more beautiful was still to come. As Jason stood and helped Marcus to his feet, the sound of clapping grew louder. Phones that had once filmed a fight were now capturing a moment of hope and healing. News reporters, who had rushed to the square, were now broadcasting the scene live across the country. "Jason Statham saves more than a life today," one reporter said, his voice filled with emotion. "He saves 2 souls and teaches us all that even the hardest hearts can change." In homes across the nation, families watched with tears running down their faces. Grandmothers, grandfathers, mothers, fathers, all touched by the simple power of forgiveness. Jason, never one to seek the spotlight, turned to the crowd. He raised Tommy's hand high. "This boy," Jason said loudly, his voice proud and strong, "is the real hero today.
sadness, but in hope. And at that moment, Trafalgar Square was not just a place. It was a lesson for the world, a lesson of courage, kindness, and second chances. Dear friends, if this story touched your heart, let your tears be a sign of hope. Drop a comment below and share your feelings. Tell us what this moment meant to you. Don't forget to like this video so more people can feel this powerful message. And please, subscribe to our channel for more true emotional stories that bring us together as one family. Let's spread kindness. Let's heal together.